Alright, hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Casey, and today in this reading we're going to be looking at what exactly do you need to purge from your life? What is no longer serving you and needs to be removed? Maybe it's a specific person who's wishing ill will upon you. Maybe it's a habit that is more destructive than it is productive. Whatever it is, we're going to be figuring out what it is that you need to remove from your life, why you need to do this, and what is it leading you to? Like, what better direction is removing this going to lead you to? So today I have 3 different readings for you to choose from. We have pile 1 with the green opal, pile 2 with the green hair jasper, and pile 3 with the blue dumortierite. So go ahead and pause, figure out which one you feel most drawn to. I'll leave timestamps down in the description box below so you can quickly jump to whichever reading that you want to listen to. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, pile 1. If you chose the green opal, then this is going to be the reading for you, and I want to start off by saying that this might be something that you're not ready to listen to. Something that maybe you know within yourself that this is something that needs to be done, but something that you don't feel ready to do. Something that you don't really even want to do, but eventually it's going to need to happen. It's not something that you can continue to run away from. And what I think this is, based on your cards, is I think it's time for you to have a long overdue talk with somebody from your past. It could even be somebody who's still currently in your life who you've been avoiding this talk with. And I'll give you an analogy. This doesn't necessarily need to be your exact scenario, but let's say that it's a parent. Let's say that it's like your dad or something. You always had like a rocky relationship. You couldn't ever see eye to eye on certain things. There was lots of disagreements, lots of arguments, lots of painful words shared back and forth. And so you decided to run away from this relationship, to cut off contact. But in doing so, you left certain things unsaid, you left certain things unresolved. Not saying that you owe anything to this person, that you owe them forgiveness, but what you owe to yourself is the ability to accept this and move on, and you haven't done what you need to get proper closure. Maybe for some of you this was an ex-romantic partner who you never fully got closure on. You ran away, you created space between the two of you. These cards are not telling you it's time to go back to this person to form a relationship with them. It's asking you to ask yourself, have you fully gotten closure from this relationship, from this thing? Has taken this space, has taken this silence from this person, this no contact, has this actually healed you? Or do you feel like you're just running away? Do you feel like you still think about them at night? You think about them when you're alone and you're wishing that you had closure? Because what I'm getting from these cards is running away wasn't the right answer. Now, I don't think reconciling or going back to this person is the right answer either. I mean, use your discretion. This is a general reading. But I think that there are certain things that need to be resolved. And I think until you can get the courage to go to this person and tell them how you truly feel or get the closure that you need in the way that you need it, you're going to be running away from this forever. If you don't do that, you're going to be constantly running from these feelings. You're never going to get the closure, and this cycle isn't going to finish. It's always going to be like this open book that never got to be closed, a chapter that was never finished. And I think you can feel that. You can feel that somehow you are still tied to this person on an energetic or a psychic level somehow, because the tie hasn't been properly severed. I think you thought that by running away, by blocking them or cutting off contact or never speaking to them again, that would sever that tie. But if anything, it has strengthened it. You feel this person more, you think about them more, because it's like when you tell somebody, don't think of an elephant, what pops in your head? It's the elephant. Like, you can't just tell yourself to stop thinking about something, to just move on from something. There needs to be some closure here. And I'm not saying that this applies to everybody. I'm not saying, sometimes cutting people off does work. But I think you specifically, the reason you are drawn to this is because you know that you don't work that way. You can't leave things unsaid, or else it just festers and it doesn't get properly healed. And moving forward, to move into your new life, to no longer have this person haunting you, to no longer have these feelings holding on to you, you need to ask yourself, what do I need to do to personally give myself closure for this? How can I help myself move on fully so I can get on with my life and stop worrying about this person? Stop thinking about them, stop thinking about words left unsaid, stop thinking about all the things that went wrong. What can you do for yourself to give yourself closure? Maybe it is reaching out to this person. I think for a majority of you, it is that, because starting off here on the left, this is what exactly do you need to purge? And you have here space. This space is not serving you. It's not allowing you to move on. So you need to bridge that space. I think the best thing that you can do is tell this person whatever it is that you have inside. Maybe for some of you it is forgiveness. I don't think forgiveness is always the answer. Sometimes it's just acceptance. But I think there is something that you really do want to tell this person. This relationship isn't quite finished until the things left unsaid have been put out for everyone to see, you know? And so these next cards are about why you need to do this. And it's not about the other person. It's not about making them feel good. It's not about rekindling this relationship or, anything that they need. So I feel like a big thing stopping you is like, well, I don't want to give them the satisfaction. They don't deserve to be forgiven. They don't deserve to gain access to me again. But you're not doing this for them. You're doing it for you. I think being able to reach out and get the closure you need will help you. It will help free you from the way that you're feeling. It will lift a weight off of you. And I think it will contribute a lot to your emotional and spiritual growth. And with Judgment, it seems like this is a long time coming. Like, if you look at numerology, the number 9, once you get to 9, that is supposed to be the closing of the book, and then it resets back to 0. You haven't been able to get past the 9. You're still stuck there, stuck on this precipice. You haven't been able to fully move on, close out this chapter. And with the Judgment card, it's a long time coming. This is something that has been a long time needing to be finished out, needing to be accepted or moved on from. And since you haven't been able to do that, with this growth card, it's almost like if you imagine a little seed that's been trying to grow, trying to break out the top, but it needs this Judgment moment to finally blossom and bloom. And you're currently a part of this cycle that hasn't been able to finish out because it needs this bit of action from you. It needs this moment to be fulfilled for you to finally get that closure, get that acceptance, and have the burden lifted off of you so that you can grow, so you can have that little seed break through and blossom into whatever it's meant to be. I think that this is something that you've had a very hard time with, not just in this relationship, but if you look at the different relationships throughout your life, have you found yourself having these same sort of issues where instead of allowing yourself to get closure, you run away or you allow there to be space between you and these other people because that's what you think is the way that you move on from things? But I think in this specific scenario, this relationship meant so much to you. Like I said, maybe it was a romantic partner, maybe it was a parent or a family member. Having gone through what you went through with them, this relationship was so profoundly impacting that it couldn't just be block them, move on, and you'll be fine. It has to be finished out properly, and it hasn't yet. Even though maybe it's been months, maybe it's been years, it's still holding on to you. They still have their hooks in you, and it's time for you to find closure. And the way that you do that is by asking yourself, how do I get that? How can I make it happen? I think it's something that is going to require action from you personally, whether it's reaching out or calling them or whatever it looks like for you. You need to start by asking yourself, how do I give myself closure? What do I need to do to make this happen? And finally, the last 2 cards that we have here are Energy and the Devil reversed. And these cards are all about what will you get from this once you purge this from your life, once you finally remove this tie that is binding you to this person. And the Devil reversed is literally like one of the most positive cards that you can get because it's all about finally breaking free of those chains that were holding you down. I think whether you admit it to yourself, this lack of closure and the way that things ended with this person, quote unquote ended, have been holding you down. Emotionally, it's made you feel very stunted. I think that you're still very hurt. You haven't been able to forgive or forget or move on. A part of you is still stuck in the past there. And because of this, it's like when you feel held down, you aren't able to give everything 100% of yourself because you're preoccupied. Maybe your mind is preoccupied. Maybe you can't give yourself fully in relationships because you have past traumas holding you back. Maybe you have triggers that you can't work through. Being able to purge this from your life, being able to find closure with this person, find acceptance, or allow yourself to reach out or do what you need to do to move on from this, will free you from this, will free you from, when you encounter relationships that kind of mirror this or seem like the same cycles are happening over and over again, you're finally going to be freed from them. And you're going to find that things that once held you back, especially in relationships, are no longer going to be issues. They're no longer going to be things that trigger you as much because you have built rapport with yourself that you can find a way through them. You can find acceptance. You can get closure. You trust yourself to positively end things instead of, running away, or maybe things don't end properly and then they just sink their hooks into you and you're stuck with this monkey on your back that you can't get off. If you know the expression. This right here, this unresolved relationship trauma, especially with this past person, it's like a monkey hanging off your back. And when you can finally get the closure that you need, do what you need to do to get that closure, when that monkey comes off your back, you're going to realize, oh my God, I can move so freely. It literally feels like a weight has been lifted off of me. You'll have so much more energy, so much more capacity for new, healthier relationships, and you'll finally be freed from these shackles. You're finally going to be emotionally and energetically disconnected from this person, because I'm sure you feel it. Maybe you don't realize that it's an energetic connection that you have with this person, but maybe you dream of them. Maybe you're constantly thinking of them, and when they think of you, you think of them. That kind of energetic tie. The only way to sever it is to finish it off properly. And that's what you need to do. So, pile 1, that is everything that I have for you. I really hope that this reading found you when you needed the most. I hope that it brought you clarity on some things. And I truly wish you the best in this situation. But that is everything that I have for you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye. Alright, pile 2. If you chose the green-haired Jasper, then this is going to be the reading for you. And I think the message that you're getting here today is going to be a little saddening to you, because I feel like you're an extremely hard worker and you've had one idea of what success looks like in your mind for so long that you don't realize that it was the wrong idea, and that you've been pushing so hard to get to a level of abundance only to realize that you didn't actually have what actually mattered. And you're coming to this point where you need to reframe your idea of what is abundance truly, what actually matters in your life. What do you care more about having success for? Because if you don't have this honest talk with yourself and reframe your priorities, you're gonna end up getting to a point in your life where you are so dissatisfied and unhappy, and you realize that everything that you've built, everything that you've worked for, means nothing, and you feel empty. And I want to get into this a little bit in detail because I don't know what this demographic is, what age you are, what your gender is, but an image I have in my mind is an older man. Now, you don't have to be an older man, but I'm going to tell you an analogy of what these cards are telling to me. The kind of story that this is telling me is a story of a father who, he got married, he had kids, and he thought the best way to show his kids and show his family that he loves them is by dedicating his life to his work, showing that he's the provider, that he's going to put in all this energy, and that it'll show them, what true responsibility looks like, what it means to really care for somebody. So he put in all these hard hours. He thought, if I can provide, if I can make so much financial security for my family, I will be the best father there is. But then you get to a point 20 years down the line where he doesn't know how to have a conversation with his kids. He doesn't have any chemistry with his wife. They all have money, but where was his time spent? His time was spent at the office. It was spent traveling on business trips. He missed so many important moments with his kids that, now his kids are adult and he's completely missed out on that part of their lives. And now, his kids don't need his money anymore because they have their own jobs, they have their own lives. What was all this money that he created for them? Yeah, there's security, there's a retirement fund, but what about his family? He doesn't have a family. Maybe he's still married, if he's not divorced yet. But his wife doesn't really want to hang out with him because, when's the last time they went on a date? When's the last time that they actually had a conversation? Maybe they live together, maybe they sleep in the same bed at night, but it's like they're strangers. The chemistry died out a long time ago. And the kids, maybe he barely has a relationship with them. He doesn't know who they are as people. An image that came to my mind is like, he gets them a gift and it's like, Dad, I haven't liked this in like 10 years. Like, I'm not a kid anymore. And the dad realizes, like, I have no idea who these people are. I think you have, I'm not saying that that's exactly you, but I think you have this goal in your mind of, I'm just going to run up this mountaintop. I'm going to make as much money as I can. I'm going to make this business or this career field I'm in. I'm going to succeed as much as I possibly can so I can make as much money as possible. And then I'll be super successful. I'll have all the abundance I need. But I think something that you've lost sight of or forgotten is that abundance isn't just money. Money is a tool that allows us to be comfortable, to not have certain worries. Well, what about abundance of love? What about abundance of fun? Abundance of relationships? Abundance of caring for people and having them care for us too? Who's going to be in your bed at night? It's not going to be a pile of cash. I mean, that's not going to be comfortable. I think that you're getting to this point where maybe when you were younger, you didn't have a lot of money. So you thought, this is going to be the thing that makes me happy. This is going to be the thing that makes me successful. But once you have it, you realize like, yeah, it feels great to be comfortable, but this doesn't fulfill me. Where's my purpose? Where's my drive to, something bigger than myself, to take care of others? What makes me feel like I'm giving back to my community, giving back to my loved ones? I feel like once you reach this point that you have all that money that you were dreaming of, you're going to realize you're not personally fulfilled at all. Because there's a lot of things that money can't buy. Money can't make you feel like you have a purpose. Money can't make you feel useful to others, like you are giving back to something in a meaningful way. Money can't buy you love. It can buy comfort, from people that are going to give it to you for money, but it can't buy a true, deep relationship where people actually care about you just to care about you. And I think something that you're being told right now is, it's great to work hard, it's great to be successful, it's great to reach the top of this mountaintop and say, like, look at what I've created, look at what I've done. Isn't that impressive? But when you look at what this is clarified, it's clarified by the Page of Cups. In the Page of Cups, he is only focused on this singular cup. He's so focused on this one object, he doesn't see the whole world around him. He's so focused on this one fish, he doesn't realize there's a whole ocean behind him. And he's still young. He's not yet a knight or a queen or a king. But where you get true abundance of why you need to purge this from your life, why you're supposed to be reframing your priorities and what your idea of true success and abundance looks like, is because true abundance isn't just in money. It's not just in financial success. It's about personal fulfillment, finding where your passions truly lie, doing something meaningful with your life and your energy, giving back and building actual positive, meaningful relationships. That's why you have this King of Wands here is the true king. Wands are all about fire. It's about passion. It's about lust for life. The way that you become a true king or the true king or queen, whatever, the true ruler of your life, somebody that actually has real power, it doesn't come from financial abundance. That's not going to make you a king. It's going to make you a page with a ton of money. What's going to make you a king is by actually giving back, doing something meaningful, doing something that you're proud of, not just making money. Anybody can make money, but it's very hard to find how can I actually give back to my friends, my family, my community, the world. What can I do that actually leaves a positive impact on the world? And something that this is going to lead you to once you change your priorities to what actually matters to you, you're going to have an expanding of your consciousness that makes you realize just how much personal relationships mean to you. And I think that this is a really important thing for you to have right now, because maybe you are still young. Maybe you're in your 20s or your 30s. Maybe you think like, well, yeah, this is just the time where I'm hustling because I'm still a kid. You don't realize just around the corner is, the age that maybe you'd want to have a family, or maybe you'd want to have a partner or a loved one that you'd like to settle down with. But if you spend all this time working towards other things, where'd all that time go where you could have been putting in hours into a relationship that matters to you? And I'm not saying everybody has to have kids or everybody needs to get married, but something that's really important to us as humans is our family, the social relationships that we have around us, the people that we care about. That's what we actually want to put time and effort into. Yeah, it's fun to have money, it's fun to travel and, book all the expensive hotels and buy the car that you want and buy the house that you want. But what are you going to do once you have all of it? Who are you going to who drive in that car with? Who are you going to travel with? Who's going to share that home with you? And I think whether you have kids right now or not, or if you're even thinking about having kids, or if you even want kids, this Six of Cups here is all about nurturing. And I think something that you might not realize yet is just how much you care about nurturing others. Just how much meaningful relationships and family means to you. Maybe right now you're like, oh, I can have a family later, or what if I don't even want a family? I have a strong intuitive feeling that family is going to be something that is very important to you personally. And right now is the age that you're supposed to be building that groundwork to find, like, how am I going to start investing in that future? Not just investing financially, but investing in, emotionally, working on myself or spending time with others before it gets to that point where it's too late. Or like I said at the very beginning, where, the kids have grown up and the father realizes he has no relationship with anybody. So I think what your reading is trying to tell you is it's time for you to ask yourself, what do you really want out of life? Are you personally fulfilled by what you're doing right now? Is money in and of itself something that's fulfilling to you? Is this current career path that you're on what you're actually doing with your time? Aside from the money aspect, is what you're doing, do you feel like it matters? Do you really enjoy it? To some people, they don't need to do something that gives back. They're content doing other things. But if you're not content, you really need to look at that in detail, because you can't sustain a life that doesn't let you feel fulfilled. Eventually, you'll get to a breaking point. And if you've been, reaching certain goals, making certain amounts of money, and you still feel the same, you don't feel like you're feeling any better, it's time to ask yourself, like, what do I actually want to be doing with my time? What do I actually want to be doing with my life? Maybe it's not about having kids, but what about having a spouse? What about having somebody that you care about? Or if you're not interested in romantic relationships, what about your close friendships? How many truly close friends do you have right now that you actually feel like they would be there for you no matter what? That actually want to spend their life, hanging out and doing fun things and caring about each other. Not just people that stick around during the good times, but people that are going to be there through thick and thin. I think these cards are trying to ask you to ask yourself all these questions and figure out where you want your priorities to lie, what kind of life you want to build for yourself. Because it's not something that you start, once you get to a certain age. It's something that you should be putting in the work right now, no matter how young you are. So, pile 2, that is everything that I have for you. I hope that this reading found you when you needed the most. I hope that it resonated, and if you have been feeling this way, it's never too late to make a change in your life. And you are never at a point where you're like, well, it's too late, I can't make a change, I should just continue to go on as life, as I have been. Even if you only had one day left to live, that's still one day that you could make a change. One day that you could live better than you have been. So that's what I want to leave you with. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye. Alright, pile 3, last but certainly not least. If you chose the blue Do More to Write, then this is going to be the reading for you. I want to start by saying that I've been looking at these cards, and I think that this is going to be for a very, very specific audience. It might not even ever reach anybody just because of how specific it is. So I just want to preface it by saying that, if this doesn't resonate with you, I expect it not to because of how specific it is. It could be that you're meant to check out a different pile, or it could just be that this reading isn't meant for you. But if you want to stick around, let's go ahead and get into it. So the reason I say that this is for a very specific audience is because we're talking like a specific financial finance bracket. Is that what it's called? If this resonates with you, you're going to be somebody that has a lot of money. Maybe you invested in Bitcoin or something before it was Bitcoin, and you have a ton of money. Maybe your parents were rich and you inherited a lot of money from them. I think money has been something that you've had for a very long time, or at the very least, something that you came into in your adult life and you've just had so much of it that you've gotten to this point where it's like you don't even really care about money. It's just you have so much of it that you have certain influences around you that are kind of like vultures. So that's one of the reasons that I say this is for a very specific audience, because not a lot of us have this level of money. I don't have this kind of money. But I think you're somebody that has so much of it that it's very hard to have genuine relationships around you because you don't know who is just using you for your money. And I think the thing that you need to purge from your life is, first of all, taking a break from this amount of money. I would never advocate for just dumping all your cash and no longer having any money, but it might be good to put it away for a while and not let yourself have access to it, because I think you've forgotten how to live without throwing money at all your problems. Throwing money at people to keep them around, throwing money at drugs or alcohol, using certain substances because, what else are you going to do? It's not like you have to spend time on a career or anything. I think it's time for you to take a break from it because money can be an addictive substance, just like anything else can. And I think you've been so dependent on it, dependent on using it to solve every problem, to create every relationship that you want, that you don't know who you are without it. You're scared to even discover who you are without it. I think you're very afraid to be alone, even, because you don't want to face yourself, because I think that you're ashamed of the person you are. And it's gotten to this point where you throw money at others to stay in relationships with you. And I don't mean, sexually or romantically, but it could even be friendships. Like people that, it's very apparent that they could just be hanging around because you're giving them money to go buy a Gucci bag, or you pay for all the lunches or all the dinners, or you pay for all of them to travel with you. And if that money went away, would those people still be around you? Do you think that they'd still want to hang out with you, or have they just been using you? Have you been letting them use you because you have nothing else? You're getting to this point, this breakdown where you're being forced to evaluate your life. And if this video has reached you, it's time for you to purge this substance from your life, because money can 100% be a substance you can be dependent on. Now, like I said, I'm not saying to burn your cash or, throw it all away, because it is necessary to have certain comforts, but it might be best for you to put it away, maybe with somebody that you trust to not use it. I don't know who that would be. Maybe somebody else that has a ton of money, or I don't even know how you would go about it. But you need to live life like a normal person, and you don't know how to do that. You need to maybe physically get away, travel away, and learn how to work a normal job or build normal relationships without offering to pay for everything, offering to buy people everything, giving people gifts hoping that they'll stay around. I feel like maybe you're an adult, but truly on the inside, you're just a scared child trying to get people to love you. And the only way that you know how to do that is by throwing money at your problems, throwing money at others. I think you hate yourself. I almost said you might not love yourself, but I think that you really despise yourself. I think you have a terrible relationship with yourself at this point. You're too scared to be alone, and that's why you're, throwing money at others, hoping that they'll stay around, hoping that, the drugs or the alcohol will distract you. And the truth is, it's not sustainable. That lifestyle is going to kill you. What you need right now is isolation, to be honest. You need to completely disconnect from your current way of living because you're going to hit a wall. I mean, I'm sure if you look in the mirror, I imagine a person with like dark circles under their eyes, hasn't slept, hasn't been sober in a long time, doesn't know how to exist on their own. When's the last time that you were in a room alone for an extended period of time, aside from when you're sleeping? What you need is to disconnect. You need to learn how to live like a normal person because humans are not meant to live the kind of lifestyle you've been living, full of distractions, full of overstimulation with, anything that you want is at your fingertips because you can just throw money at it and have it instantly. That's not how humans are meant to live. I think it's seriously damaging your brain, like psychologically. Like, you're not meant to live like this. It's kind of like when you look at TikTok, how we have all this, like, these dopamine rushes at our fingertips. We were not meant to see that amount of content in our lifetimes. We're just animals. Like, we're meant to live life and, like, eat berries and stuff. But it's like you've been living life at this extravagant level for so long that it's like you don't even know how to take proper care of yourself or live properly. And what you need to do is learn how to live properly. Because this lifestyle is not sustainable. I think you really seriously despise yourself. You don't truly have anybody around you that loves and cares about you because you have all these fake people around you. And the only way that you can learn how to live like a normal person is to stop using money to support yourself at every turn. And I don't even know how you would go about that because it's not like you can just flush substances down the toilet. Like, this is money, and you can't just give it away because you kind of need it. But at the same time, like, who can you give it to? People turn into leeches. They turn into sharks when money comes into the picture. Suddenly, everybody wants some. Suddenly, everybody will... I mean, you see with, like, the TV show Squid Games, obviously it's not real life, but it's not that far off, the lengths that people will go to get money. And if you have a ton, the lengths people will go to use you, to lie to you, to cheat and steal, to get a little bit of what you have, is despicable. And I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy because it seems like a horrible life to live, knowing that everybody around you is just using you for what you can give them. And I think for a long time, all you've known is how to give. Because how else are you going to have relationships? How else are you going to have friendships? Who's going to stick around if you're not constantly giving? It's no way to live. And I think once you finally can find a way to live like a normal person, purge yourself of this lifestyle, purge yourself of these fake people, you're going to find that you'll have such a love and lust for life that you've never had before. A desire to explore and have new experiences that would have otherwise been dulled. Because if you have everything at your fingertips, nothing is exciting. Everything is accessible, so what's the point? You can do everything, so what's the point of doing it? You've already done it before. Everything's just a different dopamine rush. And it's like, you have everything, why do that? You need to find a way that you can disconnect from that amount of money. Like I said, I have no idea how you do it. Maybe the answer is giving it away, giving it to good causes, but what you need to truly find is a way to live your life without having the ability to throw money at everything. And once you can get to that, I think you will have a lot more personal fulfillment. You're going to have goals all of a sudden and things that you want to work towards, things that you want to acquire that, it's like that saying, it's about the journey, not the destination. For a long time, Money has allowed you to just be at every destination you want to go to instantaneously. You've never had to work for it, and therefore there was never any drive to put any energy behind anything. Never any drive to actually experience everything, because what's the point if you can just skip to the end of the line? And it's a really weird thing to do, to like make yourself work hard. But I don't think that that's something that you've done in a long time. And something that you'll find is it's actually very rewarding to have to work for something, to have to work together with other people, to have a purpose, to find something to fulfill you, find something that you actually enjoy. And maybe what it is, maybe it's not about money. Maybe you find your passion in taking care of horses and you move to Montana or someplace. Maybe your passion is taking care of trees. I think you haven't even been able to find this passion because you've been so distracted by every other thing. And maybe from a young age you've been taught that the only things that matter is the amount of gold or like diamonds that you can have on you, what kind of clothes you're wearing. But you never found any fulfillment in that. Like, you had all those things, but they didn't make you feel anything. But what you'll realize is the things that actually matter are the things that you can't buy. Being able to take care of others, taking care of animals, giving back to the earth. Maybe it's art. Maybe it's creativity, being able to create things. Whatever it is, I think that that's going to be your next journey. But in order to get there, it's time to make a switch and purge this old lifestyle, because it's really not sustainable, and honestly, it's no way that anybody should be living. But pile 3, that is everything that I have for you. I truly wish you the best, and like I said, I don't expect this to find a ton of people that resonate with it, so if this happened to resonate with you, if it truly is meant for you, I'd love to have you comment down below, just because I think it'd be really interesting to see if this actually did reach its intended audience. But I truly wish you the best in your life and whatever you go through next. But thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.